Happy Friday. You're watching DeProgram with Ted Rall and John Kiriakou. Obviously, I'm Ted Rall, and obviously that's John Kiriakou. Hi, John. Good to see you.
Hey, always. Ted. Good to see you, buddy. Glad it's Friday.
Me too. All right, guys, let's get to it. Lots to talk about. Department of War. That's what it's going to be called now. We'll be getting into that. Eric Adams. They're trying to get him out of the race. They're trying to bribe him. It's probably not a feeling he's unfamiliar with. We'll get into that. Sanctions on Palestinians, nothing new there. This time it's for having the temerity to oppose genocide. We'll get into the details there. And this part, I don't know if you care about this, but you fly a lot. I have a feeling you do.
I do.
Trump's decided to screw airline passengers. And I wonder if he's going to pay a price for that in terms of populism, siding with the airlines, who are really kind of one of the most hated industries in America, against ordinary passengers. But let's just get to it. What do you want to talk about first, John?
I'd like to talk about Eric Adams first, if we could.
Absolutely.
Only because deep down, I still have a love of the how the sausage is made at the State Department and in foreign policy. One thing about the Saudis, and this is why Saudi Arabia is being floated as a place for Eric Adams to end up. The Saudis have always insisted that they not have a career diplomat as the U.S. ambassador. They demand it, which is exactly the opposite of most other countries. The Saudis demand a political appointee.
Why?
Because they want to be able to pick up the phone, call the ambassador, and have the ambassador call the president, and the president takes the call. So if you're a career diplomat, the president's never heard of you. You can't call the White House in the middle of the night and say, the king of Saudi Arabia wants to talk to you. So as crazy as this might sound, the Saudis would be very happy to have Eric Adams as the U.S. ambassador. That's not to say that 51 U.S. senators will agree to have Eric Adams as the U.S. ambassador. Although, if he were to drop out of the race, the Republicans endorse Cuomo, he'll still lose. But the Republicans endorse Cuomo.
We need to break this down for people who are not watching the details of the New York City mayoral race, which is super important, even if you don't live in New York or care about New York, just because it's the epic showdown inside the Democratic Party between the progressive left base of the party and the corporatist centrists who run the DNC.
Right.
So in the primary, Mamdani, the Democratic socialist, basically a Bernie acolyte, managed to defeat a crowded field and is now in a general election. He's the Democratic nominee.
That's
Current
right.
polls, I just checked the Real Clear Politics averages as they currently stand. Zohran Mamdani is 38.2%. Bringing up number two, a distant number two, is Andrew Cuomo, former New York ass-grabbing governor. He is running as a third-party candidate. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's on the fight anti-Semitism line. Subtle.
Yeah.
It's like that. Signe Wilkinson, the editorial cartoonist for the Philadelphia Inquirer, she has a delightful that she says in moments like that you just reminded me of. And Curtis Sliwa, the founder of the Guardian Angels and the Republican nominee, perennial Republican nominee, is at 16.6%. Basically as popular as Lint is the sitting incumbent mayor, Eric Adams, who is currently at 10.6%. So the powers that be are looking at one outlying poll that seems to indicate that if you could get Adams and hopefully Sliwa to drop out, but certainly Adams, you might actually be able to beat Mamdani with Cuomo. So the billionaire class in the real estate interests, Wall Street, all those people, that's their plot here, right? So they're trying to clear the field for Cuomo. Oddly, the New York Post, which is the Murdoch organ here in New York, is still trying to push for Adams. I mean, honestly, Clovis, my cat, has a far better chance of being mayor than Adams.
Seriously.
There's no way. I mean,
no.
He's at 10.6% in the race.
Yeah. Is the incumbent.
Yeah, that's right. Mamdani is increasing in the polls. Adams has faced a lot of very credible corruption charges. I can't say that he's corrupt. I mean, I think it's my opinion that he is corrupt and takes bribes. Okay. And I think it's the opinion of most New Yorkers too. But anyway, so they're trying to the idea is, hey, let's get rid of Adams. Adams drops out and endorses Cuomo.
Yeah.
We'll work on Sliwa. Sliwa says there is absolutely nothing that can convince him to drop out. He said they'd have to be run over by a car to drop out of the race. And I kind of believe Curtis. But
yes.
It just seems it's all very desperate, right? And so Steve Witkoff, the Trump envoy to various global hotspots, including Russia, Ukraine, he's floating this. We don't know how far the food chain this has gone. We don't know if the Donald is on board with this or if he's just sort of, obviously he's reading about it. I don't know. I mean, how likely is this?
You know what? I think it actually is likely because Donald Trump's not stupid. I mean, we like to criticize Donald Trump, sure, but he's not stupid. And he knows
his political instincts are obvious. I mean, yeah, if this was a stupid man, he'd be in jail right now.
Exactly
if he was a stupid man, he wouldn't be the first person to be elected president without military or political experience.
He's exactly
not stupid.
Yep, he's not stupid. And so he knows that Eric Adams isn't going to win this race. He knows that there's not a prayer for Eric Adams to win this race. There's a better chance that Trump can have some serious input if he gets Adams out. And so what do? You offer him ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Why not? That's going to make him happy. And the Saudis want a political appointee anyway. And then, he at least throws a little bit of a wrench into the Mamdani campaign. Even if Trump has already come to the conclusion that Mamdani is going to win, getting Eric Adams out of the race at least forces Mamdani to spend some money and would allow people to then coalesce around the candidate that Trump wants, which is either, neither Curtis Sliwa nor Andrew Cuomo. It just makes it a little bit tougher for Mamdani.
I mean, he's already got the maximum number of campaign contributions that he's allowed to accept. People are throwing so much money at him. So, I mean, it's hard to see how he loses at this stage.
Yeah, seriously.
And he's increasing in the polls. He's not going down. The more that they pay attention to him, the more that people like him in New York. I think all of this establishment stuff is just, not. It's counterproductive.
Yes.
And it's just blowback, right? I don't know. I think it's super interesting to me to see how this is all playing out. But I guess Eric Adams gets a soft landing. How is that post though? I mean, we talked yesterday about, the ambassadorial position in Athens, which I think all humans can agree is a nice job. How is Riyadh? I mean, you and I both, we have similar views on what it's like to live in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, my own personal view is that Saudi Arabia is the biggest open air prison in the world. But that's just me. When I was serving in Saudi Arabia, I served under two ambassadors there. One was Chaz Freeman, the legendary Chaz Freeman, who, God bless him, he's still alive. He has some health problems, but he is one of the leading voices out there in support of the Palestinian people. He went on to be the Assistant Secretary of Defense, and then he was supposed to be chairman of the National Intelligence Council, but the Obama people killed the nomination because he's pro-Palestinian. So the second one that I served under had been the governor of Mississippi and then was Bill Clinton's Secretary of the Navy. Nice guy, sweet guy, completely out of his element. He just did what he was told to do. Whoever happened to be National Security Advisor, Sandy Berger, for most of that period, just told him what to do and he did it. That's what the Saudis wanted. So if you are the ambassador, it's going to be good for you because you're meeting with the king, you're meeting with the crown prince, you're meeting with the minister of foreign affairs, you have the biggest parties in the country, you have the biggest mansion in the diplomatic quarter. Life's going to be good. As soon as you step out of that house, life's not going to be so good because Saudi Arabia is a terrible, terrible place to be. I would rather be almost anywhere else than Saudi Arabia.
Now, I imagine that the ambassador, just like everywhere, lives in a, basically lives in a compound. They can have alcohol. There's high walls. They can pretty much do whatever they want. They're living in their own private Idaho, right? Mm-hmm. Like a wild potato. Don't go on the patio. But isn't it? But so that's basically it. You're like you're in your Wally world.
Yeah, that's all. It's awful. It's awful. And every once in a while, you get in the car and you go over to Tehran and you meet the people in the consulate there. And then you take a quick flight over to Jeddah. The Saudi government, the entire government moves to Jeddah in May. And they're in Jeddah for May, June, July, and August. And then the whole government moves back to Riyadh because Riyadh's too hot, 120, 125 degrees. So they just go to Jeddah because it's on the water and you get a little bit of a breeze. It's still 120 degrees, but I don't know. It's all relative, I suppose. But then that's it. The reason why they want you in the first place is they want to have somebody who will have his phone calls taken by the president. That's it. That's the bottom line.
Adam wants to know, is it true that if you want to work in Saudi Arabia, you're appointed a handler by the government? Your passport is taken away from you and you can only leave with his permission?
Yes, that is true. That is true. That's a serious human rights problem.
Yeah, I should agree with that.
But yeah, you have to be sponsored. So you have to say on your visa application who your sponsor is. A Saudi has to be the majority shareholder of whatever company you're working for. So you can't just go to Saudi Arabia and say, I'm going to open an LLC and we're going to make widgets. You're going to open an LLC that you own 49% of. Some random Saudi's going to own 51%. The Saudi's going to hold your passport. And if he doesn't like your face or you have a fight or a falling out over money, then you're essentially under house arrest because you can't go anywhere. And that's how they keep especially South Asian women as sex slaves. They hire them as domestics, nannies, English teachers, and then they arrive. The sponsor takes the passport and says, yeah, now take your clothes off and you're going to be living in the cupboard underneath the steps.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Best system.
I hated it there so
Good thing
much.
we're so close to them. Marble wants to know, and thanks for the generous donation. Thanks also Houdini and everyone else.
Thank you.
Thoughts? Marble wants to know thoughts on Nigel Farage.
Nigel
trolling
Farage.
Congress. While you answer that, I'm going to hit reboot, so don't panic. I'm just trying to get a better connection here.
It's funny. As recently as 5 years ago, Nigel Farage was a joke. He was like a kind of a neo-Nazi fascist weirdo, fringe weirdo from the British right wing. And just over the last 5 years, with the humiliation that the electoral humiliation that the Conservative Party underwent, Farage has come out as like a real voice on the right. He's no less fascistic than he was 5 years ago. He just has been accepted by the mainstream as a legitimate, and this is nuts to me, but as a legitimate right-wing voice. When I was last in London, I was there in March. There was an article in the Times of London. And the Times, of course, it's a conservative paper and it's owned by Rupert Murdoch and all. But there was a piece saying that Nigel Farage would likely be the next leader of the Conservative Party. If that happens, I could see the end of the Conservative Party as a viable political force.
Really?
I think because because conservatives who aren't that conservative, that they're called wets, the WETS. I think the wets would move to the Liberal Party, which is not liberal. It's actually quite conservative, especially on foreign policy. And I think that the ones who remain by the Nigel Farage conservatives would just be sort of a rump party. Farage is a very interesting character because it sort of reminds me of what I've read happened in the UK in conservative politics in the run-up to the Second World War. There were a lot of Brits who thought Hitler was A-OK. And a lot of those Brits, you know, it took years for them to change
Oswald
their minds.
Mosley types.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. People forget that the British Fascist Party was a real thing.
It was a real thing, and there were members of the royal family that were members of it.
By the way, thank you so much to Peter for becoming a monthly supporter.
Hey,
over
thank
on
you,
Rumble.
Peter.
Much appreciated. Okay, so let's talk about the politics here. I mean, Trump is going to. I think I've got to think that the reason Trump's not all in on this plan is he knows that it probably won't work, and he doesn't want to get behind a plan that's likely to fail.
That's right.
And then he'll be made fun of, and he hates that.
That's right. Yep.
So
yeah, there are a lot of moving parts here, and in the end, look at it this way too. Donald Trump does things that benefit Donald Trump. So how does this benefit Donald Trump? It doesn't really.
I mean, I would think that it would be look, I think that the Republican Party is planning to go after Mamdani as basically turn him into their bitch for the next 4 years. I wouldn't be so sure it's going to work. He seems like a really smart young man.
Yep.
Who's surrounding himself with some older, seasoned New Yorkers who are going to hold his hand over at Gracie Mansion and at City Hall. And they're going to tell him how things work. And I don't think he's just going to go in there like a bull in a china shop. I mean, he's been running a fucking great campaign.
I think you're right. Which is funny because, Ted, you remember better than I. You're a New Yorker. When Mamdani came out ahead, so many on the right, or not even really on the right, in the center and on the right, said, this is a fluke. It's temporary. We're going to keep running. Everybody's going to coalesce around Cuomo, and the DNC is going to live happily ever after. And that's not happening. It's not.
No, not at all.
Mamdani's political godfather happens to be Jewish. And so when people say, "Oh, Mamdani, he's going to open ovens for the Jews," and no, he's not.
No. And New York voters, many of whom are Jewish, are voting for him, and they know what he's about.
That's right.
So we shall see. Nixon Barley says all of Mamdani's advisors are young. Guy is talking out of his beard.
That's probably true.
I got to tell you though, he had that guy that now his name is escaping me, who was running with him, who ran against him in the primary and then endorsed him, and they kind of co-endorsed each other in the primary. And that guy is like older than we are, and he's holding. Yeah, I think that it's a big part of it. We'll see. We will see.
Hey, before we move on too, we've got a good question from Road Beef here. If we mention Farage, I must also ask Ted and John for their opinion quickly on Boris Johnson. 2 peas in a pod. I think there was nobody in the UK more shocked when Boris Johnson became prime minister than Boris Johnson. He was a joke.
Yeah.
He was and not just a joke. He was a provocateur journalist who made a career by pissing people off on purpose, right? He was one of those original, I have an opinion, right-wing journalists, and what are you going to do about it kind of people. But I think that he got into politics just to troll people. And one crazy thing led to the other, and then he found himself to be prime minister. I will say another thing too. Every time I go to the UK, I visit my host family, the family that sponsored me when I was 19 years old, and I lived with them, and they are absolutely wonderful, awesome people. My host father was a member of parliament in the 1980s for the Liberal Party. And he's in his late 80s now, but he is still 100% sharp and follows every detail of politics. And he said this at the time. He said, Boris Johnson never wanted to be prime minister. He never intended to be prime minister. This was all about just lighting a fire under people and then writing a book about it later and being able to go on TV and promote yourself and sell your book. He didn't think he was going to actually be prime minister. And then when he became...
It's like Trump. There's a lot of dogs that catch cars nowadays.
It was about the branding for Trump. Trump didn't think he was going to win. This was about enhancing the brand. And so you find yourself prime minister of the UK, and you've been yelling about Brexit, Brexit, Brexit for all these months. You're going to have to leave the European Union.
It's like you got a Brex now.
Now you got a Brex.
Two great lines here from the scroll. Mamdani, Houdini says, Mamdani, regardless of what he says during the campaign, if he wins, he'll get the talk and fall in line. Agreed, just like AOC did. And James Gernellis, this is like poetry, James. Youth and cunning will always be outdone by age and treachery.
Amen.
That's if I had a tattoo,
we live in.
I'd say that.
Yeah, ugly world we live in.
It really, really is. John, so let's see. Ross Houston wants to know, how valuable would access to a high-level member of the economy cabinet of the UAE be to the CIA?
Not very valuable. The CIA doesn't really spy on the UAE. There's no reason to, because they give us everything that we want, and we don't really care about their economy. What we care about most importantly in the UAE is their commitment to the alliance with the United States against Iran and against the Houthis. We don't really care about the economy. Besides, it's the Brits that make the UAE economy run. The Brits are all the bankers. The Brits are all the advisors. They're managing the National Wealth Fund. Yeah,
that's interesting. All right. Speaking of the talk, so if young bloods like Mamdani get the talk from the old school dudes who tell them what's what, I think Trump has a boss too, and that's the corporations. Trump is obviously got a call from the airlines CEOs and said, don't you dare go ahead with this last second Biden Buttigieg plan that basically would have required the airlines to pay you when not because of weather, but through some fault of their own. Like remember when Southwest failed to upgrade their computer systems and people got delayed. And I mean, if you fly, you know how aggravating this is. It happened to my son recently. He's changing planes. The airline fucked up. He doesn't make his connection. He's stuck in a strange city. They're like, oh, you can sleep in the airport overnight. You can either do that or you can shell out for, a hotel at the airport on your own dime, and you got to pay for extra meals and all that. Well, in Europe, and I have to say this is an imperfect system, but in Europe, they have a system where if the airline fucks up, you can put in a claim and they have to pay you. They have to compensate you. Buttigieg and outgoing Biden pushed this through like too many good things that they came up with. They did in a cowardly way on the way out the door. So it never went into effect. And now Trump is sort of quietly on a Friday getting rid of this. Airlines are scum. They make billions and millions of dollars in profits. They are, squeezing us in. It's unsafe as shit to fly. I mean, for me, okay, I'm 6'2". I'm jammed in the seats, but that's not my main concern. The deep vein thrombosis I can live and die with. But if you ever had to evacuate the plane, which I've had to do, you can't, because there's no way to get past anyone. You can't. The aisles are too narrow. I mean, it's literally a safety issue. And so, I mean, I just wonder, this is such a corporatist Reagan type move. It's the kind of thing that by itself, it's not going to be enough to destroy Trump's coalition. But if you saw more and more of this, do you think that we would lose people like that Trump would? I mean, Trump's already lost producer Robbie, who voted for him, but would he lose more people like producer Robbie, more populist conservatives who are kind of like, well, you don't care about the people, you only care about the companies, or are they just like not going to be aware of it and not pay attention?
See, I think unfortunately it's the latter. I think most people aren't paying attention. And this is one thing I really hate too, is Americans have just accepted the fact that it's okay to be treated like cattle. I was in Spain in like February or March or something like that earlier this year. And I had to fly from Madrid to Dublin and then Dublin to Washington. So there was a mechanical problem in Madrid. And finally, they got the plane fixed and they sent us to Dublin, but I missed my connection. It's not my fault I missed the connection. Their plane was broken. So I went to the little desk there, the information desk, and I said, hey, I was on this flight from Madrid. Oh, yes, we've been waiting for you. You're Mr. Kiriakou? Yes, I am. They said, yes, unfortunately, there's not a flight to Washington until tomorrow. So we've booked you in this 4-star hotel with buffet breakfast that could feed an army. And your ticket was $1,200. We're going to refund $600 of the dollars. And I'm like, oh,
nice.
Okay. Yeah. Great. So I went to the hotel. They had a shuttle bus waiting to take those of us that had to spend the night. Took us to the hotel, expedited check-in. It was a gorgeous hotel in the center of Dublin, gigantic buffet. And then I went around, did some sightseeing, and went back to the airport the next morning and flew to Washington. And then about 6 weeks later, I got my $600 transferred into my checking account. The craziest thing. How come we don't do that?
We should do that.
Why are we held hostage?
Look, I would go further and say, even when it's a weather delay, there should be some form of compensation. Maybe airlines can charge an extra fund, so it basically creates like a compensation fund, so that when people, it's okay. It's not the airline's fault if there's a storm, and I don't want them to fly during a storm. But sure, totally agree. But people need to be able to stay at the hotel at the airport. Exactly. Maybe you don't put them up at the 4-star hotel, but they should be able to go to the, the Ramada or the Marriott or whatever.
Yeah, totally agree. Everybody should do this. The Europeans are so much.
DeWolfson, thank you so much for becoming a monthly supporter for us over on Rumble.
Thank you.
Robbie, go ahead and put that ad up, and I'll go ahead and read it when you do. It really stuck in my craw, this news, and I did notice that it was happening on a Friday news dump day. Sort of at a time of the year when people are still spending a lot of time outside on the weekend, and I think they know this isn't popular. I still maintain that Pete Buttigieg is the front runner for the Democratic nomination in 2028, not Gavin Newsom. And this, if I'm Pete Buttigieg right now, I'm doing a little dance, because I could say oh, I promoted this and Trump killed it. I'm on your side. Trump is on the airlines and the corporations side. All right, here's the ad. Thanks everyone for listening to this. If you haven't already, make sure you download the Rumble app. It's free, simple to use, and the best way to stay connected to the content you want. Once you've got it, search for my channel and hit follow our channel. That way you'll get a notification every time we go live. No missed shows, no extra steps. You can grab it right now using the link in the description or the pinned live chat. Download it to your phone and you're ready to go. And if you prefer watching on the big screen, Rumble is available on all major streaming devices and smart TVs. Just search for Rumble, follow the channel, and be part of the action. And indeed, please do watch us on Rumble, because that's where we make the financial action. Thank you.
I want to say too, thanks to our viewers and to Robbie, we were on the Rumble front page. What do you call it?
The splash page, I think, is what they call it.
The splash page the other day. So thank you for watching us on Rumble. It seriously boosted our viewership by a good, I'm going to say 9 or 10%, and landed us on that front page. So thank you very much for that.
No, it's insanely very much appreciated. The support has been super inspiring. Peter says every airport should have the words from Dante's Divine Comedy inscribed, "Abandon all hope, you who enter here." It is a bleak fucking feeling when you walk into an airport. You know, even if you have TSA pre, it's going to be an undignified experience. It's like, oh, we found your applesauce, criminal. And it's what a waste. I mean, I would seriously get rid of TSA entirely. I think we could go back to the old days where you can walk your loved ones to the gate. I mean, seriously.
I told my son that the other day, and he thought I was kidding. And I said, no. Everybody, the whole family just parks the car, just walks in all the way to the gate, hugs and kisses there. When I was a little boy, when we would visit Washington, D.C., visit relatives in Washington, my dad used to always take me to National Airport. I must have been 3 or 4. I still remember doing this. And there was an observation deck on the roof of the terminal, and you could just watch the planes take off and land. And for a little kid, that was an awesome thing.
Yeah.
You know?
It is awesome.
Now kids don't even, they're like, get out of here. That never happened.
This happened. The following thing happened in the early 90s. My sister-in-law she bought a round trip ticket. She couldn't use the return.
Uh-huh.
I returned on her ticket. They didn't even check my ID.
I did that once.
And you know what? And her name was Alice. And literally the guy gives me a funny look. I go, like Alice Cooper. And he goes, okay.
Oh, okay. I bought my mom and dad.
I look just like Alice Cooper.
You may remember this airline. It was around for a minute. It was called Bahamas Express. And they had flights from Kennedy to the Bahamas. So you go at 7 a.m. You arrive at like 9:30 in the morning in the Bahamas. You hang out on the beach all day. You go shopping. You have lunch, whatever. You get back on the plane at 5 and you land in New York at like 8. And it was $99.
That's awesome.
So for my mom and dad's 30th anniversary, I bought them 2 tickets to the Bahamas on Bahamas Express, not knowing that my dad had already bought tickets for them to go to Greece.
Oh.
So I'm stuck with these 2 non-refundable tickets. And in, 19, whenever it was, no, it wasn't their 30th. It must have been their 20th. Because I was 18. Well, $200 is a lot of money.
Oh yeah, especially back then,
1982.
It sure fucking was. Yeah.
And so I said to my brother, I said, "Hey, you want to go to the Bahamas? Just the 2 of us. We'll go down for the day. We'll drink and party and go to the beach, whatever." He's like, "Yeah, my mom's name is Stella, right?" So I hand the guy the ticket, and he looks at me.
Not like Alice Cooper. There's no rockers named Stella.
He looks at the ticket. He looks at me, and I'm just standing there looking at him. And he says to me, I'll never forget it. He says, "Buddy, $50 name change fee next time." And I said, "Okay." And got on the plane.
And nothing happened. No terrorism.
No, everybody was happy. And my brother and I have some great pictures to remember our day in the Bahamas.
And don't forget, TSA didn't exist. The predecessor to TSA.
Right.
Yeah, those box cutters were legal to bring on.
Yeah,
totally legal.
Yes.
They were. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think security matters, but John, what do you make of the fact that, you have to basically go through an anal probe to get onto a plane, but a train is no problem, or a bus. You just get on. And
I'm always amazed by that.
They all arrive. They I don't think there's any more terrorist attacks. Has there ever been a terrorist attack against a train in the United States? The last time I can think of one was like the South Moluccas terrorists in Holland in the 1970s, hijacked a train. It never happens.
Carlos the Jackal killed a handful of French policemen on a train in the 70s at some point. But no, and Ted, you and I both travel by train with some frequency. I mean, we live on the East Coast. It's really the only way to get between Boston and Washington.
Yeah.
I do too. I love trains. And not only do they not have security, they don't even look at the ticket until you're on and the train's already going. Like, you don't have to show an ID, nothing. You just get in line and get on the train. One time recently.
It's a beautiful thing, John.
It is.
And the bus, you can get on any, Greyhound doesn't care. Bolt bus doesn't care. No one cares.
No, Bolt doesn't care at all. No. What this trip where my flight was delayed and I missed
Houdini's
my
right. There was that attack. There's a movie about it that was thwarted by the U.S. airmen on the TGV.
Oh, that's France. Right. You know what? I should remember that because the hero was Greek American and he was like on the front page of all the Greek papers.
MW Knox wants to know: do we prefer the Prono scanner or the pat down?
I'll take the scanner. I hate when strangers are touching me like that.
I do not. I don't do the. By the way, at the airport now they have this thing. It's really freaky. Where they say, "Oh, stand over here and we'll take your photo."
Yeah,
for facial recognition.
Don't like it.
And you don't have to say yes; it's optional. But they basically say when you step up there, they don't say you don't have to do it. No. They say step over here.
Yep.
And in front of the camera, and you have to say I decline. And they're like, "Oh, you decline." It's not like they give you a really hard time, but they clearly don't like it.
No, they don't like it, but you can decline. It'll delay you just a couple of minutes, but you can decline. I
had a friend, journalist, currently at the New York Times, flew out of Tel Aviv, and he worked on a kibbutz. He's as Jewish as the day is long, joint citizenship in Israel. He's flying back. He's flying alone. So El Al, they decided to give him. They literally were like, "We need to do a body cavity search."
What?
And I was like, "You mean?" And so I was joking. I'm like, "So including your anus?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "So what did you tell him?" He goes, "Well, I didn't want to miss my flight." I go, "Are you kidding me?" I would have been like, "Fuck you! Call the U.S. Embassy." And it's like, but I would have missed my flight. I'd be like, I'd miss my flight for a week. Those people aren't sticking their fingers up my ass if I can.
No way. No, I got strip searched in Iceland in December, down to my underwear, and I was boiling, raging mad, but I never spoke a word. Never said a word. I didn't want to give them the satisfaction.
What would have happened if you declined or refused?
I think they probably would have told me, turn around and leave the airport. And there's no other way to get out of Iceland. You're kind of stuck.
And it's
just a miserable place. Yeah, it's just terrible.
OMG. Oh, Jen wants you to finish your story. I don't know. Did I interrupt you? I apologize.
Yeah, that's okay. What story was that? Jen, what was I talking about?
Sorry, I do that. I get over enthusiastic.
I don't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about trains. Jen remembers.
Jen
she'll put it up.
She's a follower, a frequent follower, so she has to remember. Okay, so we have it. We did Eric Adams. We should probably talk about we have to do the War Department,
DOD.
John.
Yeah, we have to. And you know what? Call me crazy, but it is a federal.
It was your train story, Jen is saying. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember what I was saying about the train. I'm sorry. If you think of it, let me know and I'll finish it.
All right.
So,
War Department.
Yeah, it is a War Department. It was the Department of War until 1947, and President Truman changed it because it sounded kind of warmongery. But it is. It is.
What was it about World War? I mean, it's weird that, I don't know the politics of this. Why did Truman change it in 47? I mean, we just won World War II. Everyone loves us. I mean, was it just, what was the point?
He didn't want to be seen. He didn't want the United States to be seen as an aggressor, as an imperialist. And so he changed it to defense. But listen, we're all we're all relatively moderately, intelligent people. We can tell the difference between defense and offense. And we're an offensive military country. Really,
yes, we sure are.
Since we achieved, so-called superpower status at the end of the Second World War, we invade countries all over the globe.
Hundreds
all over the place. We're overthrowing governments. We're invading. We're occupying. It is a Department of War.
We're invading their airspace.
I have no problem with this change.
He
signed. I'm sorry. Let me finish this thought. He signed an executive order. He announced it last night. He signed the executive order today, mandating the change. A president can't change the name of a federal department. It has to be an act of Congress.
Do you think Democrats will go along with it, or do they actually? Do you need? Is it a simple majority vote?
Simple majority. You need 60 in the Senate because you have to break cloture. But I mean, there's so many more important things to worry about. I don't think the Democrats are going to care one way or the other. I wouldn't. But they may oppose it just to make life harder for Trump and for the Republicans.
Well,
but Trump is right about this.
Pacifists have been saying for years that it should be called the War Department. So I'm wondering what they're going to say about it. It is more accurate. I have no problem with it at all. I mean, definitely Trump's statement yesterday was hilariously insipid, where he's like, defense sounds too defensive. We also have to be offensive. And I'm like, don't worry, Donald, you're always offensive. But it's just so dumb. But yeah, I'm totally fine with it. No problem. I just wonder if it's going to maybe backfire in the future and make it a little more difficult for, the defense appropriations to always get rubber stamped year after year after year. Sorry, the war appropriations.
Hey, I want to ask you too. We have a question here. It's an important one. First of all, my good sir, thank you very much for that $10. He says, can you please cover the breaking story about U.S. Marines going into North Korea and killing North Korean civilians?
Oh, yes.
To me, this is a huge story. It's a huge story. And I want to read to you Trump's response. Trump was asked if the administration had engaged with North Korea since this happened in 2018. It's a story broken by the New York Times. And listen to this response. Quote, I don't know anything about it. No, I'd have to. Well, I could look, but I know nothing about it. I don't know anything about it. I'm hearing it now for the first time. First of all, liar, liar, pants on fire. We're not going to send SEAL Team 6 into North Korea for a botched operation where they start shooting civilians and the president didn't know anything about it. That's not how covert operations work. Not only did the president have to know about it, he had to physically sign a paper called a finding authorizing special forces to do something like this. So he's lying.
So to bring people up to date, in case you didn't follow this piece in today's New York Times, John, correct me if I get any of the details wrong. I'm just doing this by memory. But in 2018, at the time when relations with North Korea and the U.S. were sort of thawing, and the U.S. thought, and Trump was hoping there could be a rapprochement, they wanted to learn more about Kim's thinking. And they thought they have a device that would allow them to eavesdrop on Kim's communications. But the catch was that the device had to be planted on North Korean soil or it wouldn't work. So SEAL Team 6 was assigned this task. They planned it out well and practiced a lot, but it didn't go well. And basically when the weather was a little off, the landing didn't go quite right. And basically the water was super cold. The conditions were hard. And basically while they were trying to do it, they saw a North Korean boat arrive and nobody spoke Korean. And they couldn't hear what they were saying anyway. They thought it was kind of like, look, there's something going on. And so anyway, they aborted the operation, shot the people on board who turned out to be fishermen.
Killed everybody.
Killed
everybody on the boat.
And screwed the pooch and took off, right? And didn't manage to plant the device. Yep. And the New York Times got this information. And basically, in the context of apparently SEAL Team 6 and groups like it often have botched operations, and they tend to brag about their successes, but the failures don't get much PR. And this was one of them. And Trump had to personally sign off because it was so risky that they were worried about they could be caught they could have been captured or killed on North Korean soil. So it would have been a huge embarrassment and a massive international incident.
Huge. And listen, there was a serious violation of protocol on the part of the White House too, because the law says that the White House has to inform at least the Gang of Four, if not the entire committee on both sides. The Gang of Four being the chairman and vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee and the House Intelligence Committee. If it's so sensitive that you want to keep it, eyes only, you do the Gang of Four. And they didn't inform the committees either before or after the operation. I mean, heads should have rolled and nothing happened. May I add too, Hello Qasim says, John, yesterday you mentioned Aafia Siddiqui. Can you tell us more about her, please? And thank you. Thanks for that. Do we have a minute, Ted?
Absolutely.
So I had Aafia Siddiqui's attorney over at my house today for coffee, and we recorded an episode of my Deep Focus podcast, talk about Aafia Siddiqui. Aafia Siddiqui was a Pakistani American neurosurgeon with a PhD from Brandeis and a bachelor's degree from MIT. Woman was absolutely brilliant. Her sister also is a PhD, like neurologist or neurosurgeon or something like that. Aafia self-radicalized right around the time of the World Trade Center and Pentagon attacks, 9/11. And she went back to Pakistan and she volunteered to join Al-Qaeda. So we capture Khalid Sheikh Mohammed in August of 2002, I think is what it was. And he said, oh, there's this woman, Aafia Siddiqui. She's really bad. I'm ratting her out. You need to grab her. Well, we found her in Karachi and we grabbed her. We asked the Pakistanis to grab her. They gave her to us and we took her to Afghanistan and locked her up. Here's the rub. She had 3 young children at the time, a boy, a girl, and a young boy who was an infant. And as it turns out, well, before I tell you how it turns out, she was turned over from the Pakistanis to the Afghans, from the Afghans to the Americans. And the FBI flies out to begin interrogating her. Here's where the stories all diverge. The official story is that she was in a tent waiting to be interrogated. One of the FBI agents had an M4. He leaned his M4 up against the side of the tent. She grabbed it. She tried to shoot him. The gun jammed. And another FBI agent took out his gun and shot her twice in the stomach. She survived. That's the official version. She went on to be charged with attempted murder, and she was found guilty and given 86 years in prison. She didn't murder anybody. She didn't even injure anybody. So he told me this is the longest sentence ever given in American history to someone for attempted murder where there was no discharge of a weapon. 86 years. The story gets worse. In the during the trial, they showed bullet holes, 2 bullet holes in the canvas of the tent. And they said, see, she got 2 shots off. We had to shoot her. But as it turned out, they had been interrogating prisoners in that tent for months. And another photograph surfaced showing the bullet holes were already in the canvas of the tent weeks before Aafia Siddiqui was ever caught. So no, she did not fire the shot. She didn't fire any shots. Here's what makes this case even worse. The CIA kidnapped all 3 of her children, and they turned them over to Christian missionaries in Kabul. The eldest son was adopted by a missionary family, and they changed his name. The middle child, a daughter, was adopted by another missionary family, and they changed her name. No one ever figured out what happened to the baby. So the war ends, and Hamid Karzai, who was president of Afghanistan, is placed under house arrest. My friend, the attorney, went to Afghanistan. He's befriended the Taliban government. And he told them what happened. Aafia Siddiqui is a giant hero in both Pakistan and Afghanistan. And so he said, I really need to talk to Hamid Karzai. So the Taliban tells Karzai, you're going to talk to this British human rights lawyer. And Karzai's like, yeah, we snatched the kids. We turned them over to the CIA. They just farmed them out for adoption. He found the kids, and they're adults now, but he's reunited them with Aafia Siddiqui's sister in Pakistan. They now live with her. The baby would now be 18 years old. And the only news that he's been able to get about the baby was verbal. And it was that the baby had been dropped on his head and he was killed. What? And he says, I think that's complete and total bullshit. The CIA just doesn't want us to know where the baby is. The baby, like I said, is now 18. So what he did is he got Aafia's sister to give a DNA sample, and he registered it with 23andMe and GED Match and all these different, Ancestry.com. He also used AI to age the picture of the baby to what he would look like at the age of 18 today. And he said, we're trying to find him. And so now he's suing the CIA, which of course is going to go nowhere. He's suing the FBI, which is going to go nowhere. And he said, look, I know we're not going to win any of these suits, but I'm hoping that the suits garner enough public attention that some 18-year-old dark-skinned kid out there is going to say, maybe this is me they're talking about. And that he does a DNA test. So I said, well, what about Aafia? She's going to die in prison. She's at FMC Carswell, which is a maximum security medical prison. She's in solitary confinement and has been in solitary confinement since 2008. He told me that she has, for all intents and purposes, lost her mind. And of course, the prison doctors say, yeah, she's faking that craziness. It's not from being in solitary confinement for the last 17 years. She's just faking it. He told me that on Thanksgiving, she was given a plate of food with turkey, potatoes, stuffing, and corn, and some pumpkin pie, and she let it sit. And they asked her why she didn't eat her Thanksgiving dinner. And she said, no, she's saving it for her son because he must be so hungry by now. And they wrote it up. They said, she's faking this PTSD. She said that she's waiting to feed her son, and everybody knows her son is dead. So I said, well, what can we do? And he said she does respond to letters. He answers. His name is Clive Stafford Smith. Hold on one second. I'm going to find him. There he is. Listen to what an awesome guy he is. He's a member of the Order of the British Empire. The Queen Elizabeth, gave him an OBE because of the work that he's done on human rights. He has never charged a client a single dollar in all of his life. He just lives on donations. He's devoted. He's represented 66 Guantanamo detainees, and he's gotten every one of them released, all 66. And he says to write to him, it's Clive Stafford Smith 2020@gmail.com. He will deliver the letters to Aafia, but he said her only hope is that President Trump commutes her sentence and lets her go home to Pakistan, and that's not going to happen.
John, I hate to bring this up, but we do have some breaking news. Also, I should probably, we have another ad. So Robbie, whenever you're ready. But first I'll break this. So a federal judge has blocked Kristi Noem and the Trump administration from getting rid of those temporary Biden-era protections for the Venezuelans and Haitians that they're trying to deport. The judge was extremely upset with the administration. U.S. District Judge Edward Chen said that Kristi Noem illegally stripped that status in a truncated and condensed timeline that did not follow the law. So another defeat in court for the Trump administration, but I think they see that coming. Let me read this ad. Quick pause to tell you about Pickaxe, the creator and user-first platform built for people, not algorithms. You know what big tech is up to. Data mining, bot-driven feeds, black box AI deciding who sees your work. Instead, Pickaxe hands you an algorithm-free chronological feed with native Rumble playback, auto-publishing of your live streams, free blue check verification, and full monetization control. Your voice, your rules. Best of all, the web version is live right now, and their iOS and Android apps drop next month. On Pickaxe, your Rumble videos play seamlessly right in your feed, as if they were built into the platform. No embeds, no workarounds, just smooth native playback. Even better, in beta now, creators can connect their Rumble channel to Pickaxe to automatically post live streams and videos so your followers never miss a moment. We'll have to do that. You can also write full articles directly on Pickaxe today. In fact, I did that today. And later this year, you'll be able to blast them out as well as email newsletters with one click and build up your own email list for direct audience access. Monetize on your terms through paywalls, revenue sharing, or affiliate ads that auto-insert promo codes and tracking links. And because bots shouldn't steal your spotlight, Pickaxe hands you a free blue check so everyone knows it's really you. Pickaxe is building tech that builds up humanity, algorithm-free, noise-free, human-first. Head to pickaxe.com, sign up, and take your platform to the next level. Real voices deserve a real home.
I like that.
John, what about this latest court thing? I mean, obviously the Trump administration is used to this. They do what they want. They know that while they're doing it, the courts are slow. The courts will get around to it. When they lose, which they do, they appeal. They appeal, and I guess their ace in the hole is the Supreme Court, which seems to be really supplicant.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is the strategy. The strategy is do anything you want and let them sue you. And so they lose 50%, 60, 70% of the time, whatever, but they do what they do in the interim. And then in the end, they win a couple. So yeah, I think it's the policy. I think that they fully expect to lose. And they say, we don't care. We're just going to do what we want.
Indeed.
Yeah. Oh, can I add one last thing about Aafia Siddiqui? Somebody's asking me what was her side of the story. Her side of the story was actually quite believable. Her side of the story was she was sitting in a chair in the tent. When the FBI agents arrived, she heard them speaking English. And she said, "Oh, the Americans are finally here," thinking the Pakistanis snatched her, turned her over to the Afghans. The Americans are going to save her and protect her. So she says, "Oh, the Americans are here." So she got up, she took off her veil, looked through the slit in the tent. A soldier said, "She's trying to escape." And he shot her twice in the stomach. That's her side of the story, which is very believable to me.
Well, while we're talking about
86 years in prison,
that's some bullshit. And while we're talking about some bullshit, the Trump administration just imposed sanctions against 3 Palestinian groups: the Palestinian Center for Human Rights, Al-Haq, and Al-Mizan, for having the temerity to ask the International Criminal Court to look into alleged Israeli war crimes in Gaza. These are Marco Rubio's sanctions. His complaint was that they asked the ICC to get involved and look into this without getting Israel's consent, John.
Okay.
So next time I'm pulled over for speeding, I'm going to file a complaint against the police officer for not getting my consent to pull me over.
Yes.
And to fire that radar gun at me.
Well, if you watch YouTube
don't
videos,
I deserve a say?
And if you watch YouTube videos, you know that what you have to do is just start screaming, "I do not consent," as soon as they come up to your window.
Right.
Because that always works.
Yeah, and you're making friends. They love that.
Right.
There you are in the middle of Interstate 80 between like Clarion and Clearfield.
Exactly.
And they're loving that. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just the Israelis. I mean, they've lost it. They've completely lost their minds.
When are we going to be able to finally call the Israelis on their bullshit? I'm not optimistic.
I actually am. I guess it's too late to be optimistic because so many people have already died horribly.
Yeah.
So it is too late for that. But honestly, I do think it's inevitable. And I think it's either going to be Trump or someone like him. It's going to be someone who normally is always in the bag and is just going to say, like, Lindsey Graham, like, enough.
Right.
Just like, and probably won't be Lindsey Graham, but, someone who's just, it's going to come out of left field. It'll be like when France recognized Palestine, when suddenly it's just like the dam bursts. That's what it's going to be like. I
think you're right.
Well, let's see. Do we have any? I guess that's about it, right, for today. JD Vance Houdini says that's a good guess, actually. A really good. I'm serious.
Yes.
I mean, JD Vance we know he'll change his mind.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Democrat. Nah, I'm a Republican. I'm an anti-Trump Republican. I'm a pro-Trump Republican. He'll be anything you want him to be.
That's right. I think that's right.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for an awesome week. By the way, guys, if you haven't listened to, if you're not Rumble Premium, you got to go to Rumble Premium or think about being Rumble Premium just to check out John and producer Robbie's. I interviewed both of them. Robbie's story is amazing. John's obviously amazing. We've dropped 3 episodes, about an hour each, where I interviewed him about his life story. And we're probably going to be doing 2 more, maybe 3 more. Who knows? I mean, just, we're taking.
I apologize in advance, as I told Ted yesterday.
I have what? No, there's no apologies allowed. And honestly, it's just amazing. It's a privilege to do them. And, I sent the links to a few friends and they loved them. So
great.
So definitely check that out. John, do you have a website you want to pimp?
Sure. You know what I have? It's johnkiriakou.com. We're going to seriously beef it up soon for a couple of reasons. Well, you know what? I'm going to spill the beans. They told me I could if I wanted to. I am finally going to appear on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Woohoo!
On October 9th. Thank you. And I'm thinking that with his 18.9 million subscribers, that might drive a little bit of traffic to the website. We just
want 1% of them.
That's right.
We want 90% of them.
I'm going to talk about DeProgram and Deep Focus, but I'm also expecting to restart my speaking tour in December. And so I got to have that website like perfect. It's decent now, but it's got to be perfect.
Rall.com for me, cartoons, columns, and everything else. I have a Substack, tedrall.substack.com. My latest book is called What's Left, and it's basically a prescription for what the left, the real left, not the Democratic Party, should be asking for domestically and in terms of foreign policy. Anyway, I really appreciate it. You can get those on my website, Rall.com, Amazon, order it from your local bookstore, whatever. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always,
thanks everybody.
Super appreciated. Thank you, producer Robbie West. As always, PutinBot Gaming. Go check it out. Go check out that gaming channel. It helps him, and helping him helps us. So Robbie's keeping this whole thing going. Robbie, I'm popping Robbie on here. There's Robbie.
Howdy.
Say something about PutinBot Gaming.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube and Rumble. If I'm a part of the Rumble content creator program, so if I'm live, if y'all just pop over, say howdy, or call me any kind of name that you want. There's a chat metric that's involved. I don't stream as much as I used to because, well, I'm here. So if y'all could do that, it would just help me out a lot. And I've already told John and Ted that they're out of work and I'm not. So I'm doing this for free. So if y'all can come over and throw some watch hours my way, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, we've also got a Discord server.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care. Thanks for watching DeProgram. We'll back next week, Monday, 5 o'clock Eastern time. We're here Monday through Friday, 5 o'clock Eastern. Like, follow, and share the show. Watch us on Rumble.